Kevin Hunter here on the Business Forum Show, and my special guest is Brent Widman from Southwestern Consulting, and you can find him on the web, southwesternconsulting.com, and the number 507-382-7641, and we'll come back to that in a moment. Well, first of all, welcome to the show, Brent.
Thank you.
So talk about your organization and what you specifically do.
I work for, obviously, Southwestern Consulting, which is part of a larger organization, which is Southwestern Company, a 158-year-old sales organization, direct sales training organization.
And you were there from the beginning, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And everything we do is 150 years old, too, as well. So, yes.
Okay.
Over time, what we do is we do sales coaching, sales training, sales consulting. We help businesses get to where they want to be, get to the next level.
So what's your background? What got you involved in coaching, and what was kind of the passion that drove you to do this?
My background, where I started, was when I came to the Minneapolis-St. Paul. I'm from a very small town, southwest Minnesota, town of 400 people. Went to college, public relations degree, that kind of thing. Moved up here, was in the Lifetime Fitness, the YMCA, sales director there, and then into Robert Half and Sprint as a leader in the industry, I guess, put it that way. District manager, division director, that kind of thing along the way with the MBA. But I always knew there was a bigger path. And that's where, when I was at Robert Half, my colleague had looked at me on LinkedIn. Of course, you have to look back at him.
Yeah.
Correct? And I just reached out to her and said, can you tell me more about this? Because it had the coaching, the training, the public speaking, the writing, everything that I've always wanted to strive to. That's what we do at Southwestern, and helping people get to where they want to be. And I knew it would ultimately help fulfill my dream, too. So,
yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, like we see here on the show, you have to see a lot of interesting things going on in business, intermingling with business people and seeing some of their struggles and challenges. What are some of the obvious ones that come to mind? And you're dealing more on the sales side of things with people, right? Yeah. Yes. So a lot of organizations struggling with marketing, a lot of people, organizations struggling with their processes with sales, and even for those that haven't recognized that they still are. So what are some of the things that you've observed?
What I see, or what we see, is we take a deep dive into that individual person's business or that company's business. And the biggest things we see on a specific individual is that process of the sale, or everything they're doing on a given day that helps them make money. Or that self-management, that time management, that goal setting, having a vision, knowing who your perfect client is, working your territory effectively. Becoming that time management guru, so you know from the time you walk into work to exactly what you're going to do the rest of that day. And then the self-motivation. And tying that all together with the habits of what top producers do on a day-to-day basis. And that's how we help people get to the next level. And that's what we see is there's always something that it's either a struggle with, how to ask people for referrals, or how to ask for business, or how to get out of your own head, be comfortable with being uncomfortable, that kind of thing. Okay, and like we talked about a little bit before, being stuck in maybe, because yeses are fantastic, right?
Yeah.
No's are okay too. It's okay to get a no, but it's all this gray area, and all these people in the middle that you can tell blood pressure goes up when people talk about closing, but all closing is a series of questions moving somebody to make a decision. And that's all it comes down to, and that's what we help people with.
Yeah. So there's two things that you said in there that jumped out at me. One is ideal customer. It totally cracks me up when I visit with business people and ask them this question, and they'll say, well, everybody is my ideal customer. How often do you hear that from organizations, and what do you do to help bring clarity to it?
Those are the people that want to sell to everybody and think they can sell to everybody. But you can't do that. You have to. You can, in a sense, I guess, but that's not. It's that 80-20 rule, where 20% of your profit's going to come from, or 80% of your profit's going to come from 20% of those customers. But you have to pinpoint who those people are.
Sure.
And take a deep dive into that, and take a step back of, who do I want to sell to? Who do I want to work with? What type of personality? What do they do on a day-to-day basis? Where are they from? That kind of thing, because everybody has a different personality, and that's how we help them find it.
You know, the interesting thing that when somebody's not in tune with that, and then they create marketing efforts around this, we can sell to everybody idea. they end up alienating almost everybody with their marketing when they aren't thinking about who their ideal client is. And the person who they should be doing business with is almost always lost in that effort. So bad deal. But there's something else that you said that I wanted to jump into real quick, too. You're talking about getting comfortable with being uncomfortable. Our comfort zones are like so controlling with what we do. Salespeople will pull up in front of a business and go, well, they look a little busy, whatever else, I'll come by another time. I mean, people are always doing that kind of stuff. How do you teach someone to become comfortable with the things they're uncomfortable with? Because that's a very necessary part. If somebody doesn't have a strategic plan on how to get used to being uncomfortable, well, then they're always going to be controlled by this little comfort zone and sub-optimize their performance all the time. How do you teach them that?
What you just said is basically people making excuses.
Mm-hmm.
They're generalizing because they don't want to go into that business and go talk to that person because it's out of their comfort zone to just walk in and talk to somebody. So how we work on that is hold them accountable. Hold them accountable to what they need to be doing, whether it be because you're going to drive your business by talking to new people every day, not by talking to the same people day after day after day after day. Obviously, that's one of your income-producing activities, correct? You have to talk to those people, but when we call and try to talk to the same people instead of talking to the new people that are waiting for you back here, that's being convicted in what you do. And being able to move people to make a decision. And if we're scared to talk to those new people, we're always going to stay stuck right where we're at. And just having them understand the value in that, and that there's people out there that are waiting for them. Essentially, waiting. Yeah. They need their help, and you're doing them a disservice by not reaching out to them.
So what advice would you give for business people that are, we're just about out of time here, but what advice would you give to business people out there that are struggling with a myriad of issues? What are some first steps they could take in helping address that?
First steps would be, don't think about how many people you're calling or how many people you're talking to, the same people over and over. Think about where you can go to build new business and how you're going to do that. Think about what your day consists of and what it looks like, and how you plan your day accordingly to get to where you want to be.
Excellent.
And then start reaching out to people.
Very good. Kevin Hunter here on the Business Forum Show. My guest is Brent Widman, and you can find him on the web, southwesternconsulting.com. Again, that's southwesternconsulting.com, and the number is 507-382-7641. Again, Kevin Hunter here on the Business Forum Show. Thanks for listening.